Hey polish fans, it's Caroline again and welcome to another video here at Wild Moon Lacquer. In today's video I am finally getting around to sharing the summer Orly collection with you guys. This is called Cloudscape. I get these through the ColorPass subscription box. Basically you could sign up at any point during the year and sign up for a year's worth of the collections sent to you in the mail. You also get a couple of bonuses per month. Oftentimes it's a sticker and another nail polish. Other times it's been something like I think a hair clip and a keychain. We'll go over those for the summer collection here as well. But what I've done for this collection is pull a couple of colors that might dupe this summer collection, again called Cloudscape. So as always, the ColorPass box comes with a little card to let you know what the collection is, and then they always have some nail tutorials that you can try with the colors in that box. And then again, they let you know what the bonuses were for that month, and then some color samples of what the collection colors are going to be. And as you can see, we have a rainbow for the summer box, and it is maybe not the most exciting box, not very groundbreaking for summer, but what I do like that they did is they do give us a variety of different depths of color. They're not all on the same shade range. We have some that are more on the pastel side, and then we do have a darker shade as well. A few of these are also in the more subdued color range. So we're going to go ahead and take a peek at them. I do have them swatched as well as the colors that I've pulled to potentially dupe them out. Before we get started, let's go ahead and see what is on my nails. It's always listed in the description down below, assuming I've remembered to do that. But the first one is from Paradox Polish. This is Rose the Hat. This is what I'm wearing on my left hand. This has been one of my favorite polishes that I've worn recently. And that's saying a lot because I've really enjoyed a lot of the polishes that I've been wearing, but for this being a rather simplistic formulation, I've really enjoyed it. The magnetic pull on this one is a silver holographic and it is dazzling and beautiful. Forgive the chips though, we did eat crab the other day, and when you eat crab you can't help but break a few nails or chip them, but that was Rose the Hat. And then on my right hand, I'm wearing another magnetic, this one from Victorian Varnish. This is SSDD. This one is a 3-coat formula, whereas Rose the Hat was a 2. This one has more of a blackened purple base with those green micro flakes, and then that iolite color pulls up into the magnetic line. I do feel like on my camera it's pulling bluer than it is, but it does have that iolite purpley blue color to it. It is very pretty. All right, so let's go ahead and see what I got for the bonuses. The color that came as the bonus was an Orly Breathable in the color Sour Time to Shine. This one is a yellow leaning green, kind of like a sour candy, lemon lime sort of a color. It's not quite as intensely neon as it's coming off, at least on my screen. It does have a bleached neon quality to it. And then the secondary bonus was a kit of stickers. This is 42 nail decals. They are little sparrows, clouds, butterflies, air balloons, moons. It's a really cute packet. I do really like that one. And then on to the summer collection. We're going to start with the first color, and this one is the red from the collection. This is called Take Flight. Now this is an interesting shade. I feel like on camera this is leaning a little bit different than I see it in person. On camera it feels like it's leaning very like watermelon red, whereas in person it's got more of a pink tinge to it, but once it's swatched, that pink doesn't really show through. But here it is in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. And I take that back. I am seeing that pink watermelon quality to it while still maintaining the red color of it. It just has that pink tinge. And this was a great 2-coat formula. Nice and opaque in those 2 coats. And all of these are creams except for the yellow. The yellow has a sort of hidden shimmer to it. But that one was the red called Take Flight. So let's go ahead and see what I pulled to potentially dupe that one out. I looked through my Orlys and found Connect the Dots. I think this might have been from a past summer collection. And as you can see in the bottle, they are fairly close, although there are some subtle differences. I think the first one, Take Flight from the new summer collection, is a little bit more saturated. There's a subtle dustiness or like more white in the base to connect the dots, but they are very close. And then here they are, 2 coats each. The top one is the one from the collection, Take Flight, and the second one is Connect the Dots. Both of these have a glossy top coat, and there I think you can see the difference, what I was talking about of the sort of lack of saturation in Connect the Dots. By comparison, there's more color saturation in Take Flight. Next up is the orange. This one is one of the ones that is sort of a pastel bright, if that makes sense. This one is called New Horizons, and this is a creamsicle orange, again in a cream formula. And this is it in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. This is another one that had a decent formula. I thought it was nice and opaque in just 2 coats. I do like this one. It has that, like I said, sort of a dusty quality to it. It's got more white in it than a standard orange when you're dealing with a more saturated color. And then the one that I pulled that it was closest, at least that I could find in the Orly's, is this brighter orange called Tangerine Dream. This one I'm pretty sure did come out in a summer collection a couple of years ago, I think. And it is brighter for sure. There is more of that dusty quality in New Horizons from the new summer collection, but they are fairly close in tone. And here they are. Apologies about whatever is going on with that swatch. I don't know if you can see that on camera. I don't know if that's the polish or my top coat reacting oddly to it, but in person I'm seeing bubbles. But in any case, this one is New Horizons. The bottom one is Tangerine Dream, and hopefully there you can see the more bright neon quality to Tangerine Dream, whereas by comparison you have that more dusty flat quality to the new one, New Horizons. But both are nice oranges. You just definitely get a difference in vibrancy. Next up is the yellow. This is the one that has shimmer, the only one in the collection that has shimmer. This one is called Sunny Side Up, and it is a bright yellow with a pinch of a dusty quality to it that does have a red shimmer. Now the shimmer is pretty subtle, but you can see it there catching the light. And this is it in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. Now this is one where, depending on your nail length, your application, and all of that, it might be a 3-coater. Yellows are sort of notorious for that, for formulations being difficult to get perfectly even. And it might have just been my application on this one, but I think you can sort of see a little bit of the unevenness there. But I did think it was good and opaque in the 2 coats, but just something to note that it does have that potential to be uneven. And as you can see there on the nail, the glow isn't really extremely noticeable. I mean, you can sort of kind of see a warmth tinging it a little bit right there underneath the light, but it's not a super in-your-face glow like an indie polish would have, but it does add a nice little unique touch to it. So that one was Sunny Side Up. And then the color that I pulled that was closest, at least in my collection, is another brighter yellow called Claim to Fame. I think this might have been another summer collection, but I don't really remember. But as you can see, it is a slightly more, again, saturated color, this time from the one that I pulled as a comparison. Sunny Side Up has the more pastel lean to it by comparison. And then Claim to Fame has that pinch of almost like an orange quality to it. And then here they are compared. Apologies about the swatch. I accidentally picked up some of Connect the Dots when I was doing the top coats for everything, and it sort of did a little bit of transfer there on our yellow. But there it is compared to Sunny Side Up. There, hopefully you can see that difference in tone. There is a little bit of that orange quality to Claim to Fame, more of a bright, slightly pastel quality to Sunny Side Up. And then of course it does have that very subtle shimmer to it. Next up is the light green. This is one that they did in a pastel color. This is Field of Wonder. This is again in a cream formula. So I would almost call this like a pale pistachio. Maybe it has a pinch too much yellow in it. I can't quite decide, but it is a nice soft green color. Again, kind of an unusual choice for a summer collection. Here it is in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. This is a nice formulation. I thought it was good and opaque in just these 2 coats. So that green was Field of Wonder, and then I had to go outside of Orly to find a color comparison in my collection. So what I pulled is OPI's Summer Monday through Fridays, and Summer Monday through Fridays is a brighter, again, more saturated color by comparison. The Orly Field of Wonder is definitely more pastel by comparison. It has more white in there. And here they are on the nail. Again, on the top is Field of Wonder. On the bottom is OPI. Summer Monday through Fridays, and there you can see that difference in brightness. The OPI is definitely a brighter, kind of more leaning towards a neon shade, but pretty close. Next up, we have one of the lightest colors in the collection. This one is called Stratosphere, and this one is an interesting, very, very white leaning, light purple. I would almost classify this as a periwinkle because it does have a pinch of a blueness to it as well, but a lot of this is coming from a white pigment. Here it is in just 2 coats with a glossy top coat. I thought that the formulation on this was nice as well. For how light of a color this is, it very well could have been a difficult formula to work with, but I thought it was nice. I ended up liking this a lot more than I thought I would, considering how soft it is in the bottle. It isn't necessarily my favorite. Like I said, there is a ton of white in here, which for myself is a little bit more dull by comparison to some of the brighter shades. It's another one that I thought was an interesting choice to put in a summer collection because it is so soft and almost faded. So that second to last polish in the summer collection was called Stratosphere. And then the color that I decided to pull for comparison also came from Orly. This is Blue Iris. This was one of my favorite colors from the collection that this came out in. I think it was the spring collection for last year, possibly. It was either 2023 or 2022, but very, very pretty. Here again, you could tell that there is a pretty big difference, especially on camera. By comparison, Blue Iris is much more saturated. You can see here how much more white there is in the new one, which is Stratosphere. And here they are on the nail. Stratosphere is on the top in 2 coats. Blue Iris is on the bottom, also in 2 coats, both with a glossy top coat. And there you can definitely tell how different they are, but that was the closest color that I had in my Orlys. It's definitely my favorite. The Blue Iris is of the 2. And then the last color in the collection is our darkest shade. This one is called Indigo Skies. And this one is definitely my favorite of the collection because of the color. It is a beautiful shade of indigo, also in a cream formula. So this is it in just 1 coat, you guys, just 1 coat. This was very impressive. I will say if you do thinner coats, this potentially could be a 2-coater, but I wasn't going gung-ho with this one, and it was a beautiful 1-coater. So that one was Indigo Skies. Now this immediately made me think of a color that I already had, also from Orly, and the one that I pulled to compare it to is called Indie. Now, pardon my bottle, it has a lot of separation going on with the white that's in there, but hopefully you can see the top portion of the bottle well enough to see how close they are. Now, I did pull out another color to compare it to because I thought some people might have a curiosity to see how it compares. Synthetic Symphony, that one came out in a summer collection a while ago, and so here it is just to compare it to. Now I didn't swatch it because as you can see even in the bottle they are vastly different. There is a much more of a brighter warm-toned purple quality to Synthetic Symphony, whereas by comparison there's a lot more blue in that indigo color of Indigo Skies. But just thought that some people might be curious to see how Synthetic Symphony does compare because it definitely was on the list of a lot of people's favorites from that collection. So here we have Indigo Skies compared to Indie. I think this is the closest comparison that we've done so far from this collection. These are in fact so close, I would say that they are dupes. Yeah. They are dupes. I will say, though, that the formulation has improved. Indigo Skies is a better formula. Like I said, it is a 1-coater. I definitely needed 2 coats on Indie. That was a much more watery formulation by comparison. But the color, you guys, the color is virtually the same. Virtually identical. I think you can maybe start to see some very subtle differences. Indie might be like a pinch bluer, but I mean, it is very, 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 very close. So there we have it. That was the Orly Summer Collection for 2024. That was Cloudscape. Let me know which ones were your favorites down below. Like I said, when I did the swatches, mine is definitely Indigo Skies. Indigo is one of my favorite colors. I love colors that blur the lines between purple and blue, and that definitely does a great job. All in all, I would say this wasn't my favorite collection. I don't know, a lot of the colors were a little bit lackluster or unoriginal. I will say that. I feel like many of these colors are ones that you've probably already got in your collection from other brands, which is kind of a bummer, but at the same time, I also can kind of get where they were coming from as far as sort of doing something outside the box by pulling some of these more pastel shades and dustier colors into the collection. I guess for myself, I would have liked to see something a little bit more original, but all in all, the formulas are great. Like I mentioned, especially with Indigo Skies, that it was a one-coat wonder for me, which is always impressive, especially for those darker colors. I just don't know if I would have picked out any of the other colors myself to purchase. That one would have, but I also would have immediately wondered how it compared to the one that I already had, which was Indie. In any case, there you have it. That was the summer collection for Orly. Thank you again so much for watching. Hopefully you had a good time. If you're new, do think about hitting that little subscribe box down below. That way you don't miss out on any of my new videos, and I will see you in that next one.